So you say Australian. So how do we become an Australian? So there is a bridge for that, right?
Yes, there's a pathway. You do your skill migration, or you go on any kind of visa, maybe a spouse visa, or maybe on a business migration, or you go maybe on student to PR, or whichever pathway you go into. You need to stay in Australia for at least 4 years. And the last year, you should be on a permanent residency visa, and you should be staying in Australia for 12 months continuously on your fourth year. And after that, you can apply for your citizenship. Once you apply for your citizenship, then you can apply for your passport.
Okay. So one thing that I want to make clear that most of our people, the perception over there is that student visa is the way to go to another country.
Because people are ignorant in India. So
Correct.
unfortunately, it is what it is. Because the right kind of knowledge has not been passed on. People don't know how to do this, and people who are doing it, they don't know the channel. So the only way to do it, like if you see in my previous podcasts or in my previous videos also, I have clearly mentioned statistics have shown that if you are an Indian, your rejection rate is above 70%. So you can imagine, and even if you get into Australia on a student visa, your chances of getting a PR are much lesser than applying for a PR visa offshore. So
Okay.
you're spending so much of money, you're spending $100,000 or hundreds of $1,000s, you're getting into the country, going in for that. Plus, you don't have chances. So, because the immigration department of Australia has made it in such a way that they want people more directly on skilled labor instead of coming on a student visa and then trying to apply or take a pathway for permanent residency visa.
So you suggest that if you want to migrate and settle in Australia, it
Now,
will
I
help.
don't suggest, it's a fact.
Okay.
It's a fact. You pull out the numbers, you check how many people who have gone on a student visa and how many people from that has actually got a PR versus how many people apply for a permanent residency visa and how many of them have gone. So if you do apples for apples, you will actually get the numbers
Okay.
that if people going on student visas, and if they get the visa, their chances are much lesser compared to people applying for PR from here and going in over there.
Okay. Now it's like it's like unlearning for me basically, because see, previously itself everyone in India, especially in South India, they think about Canada as the place where we can migrate, and that to student visa. So in their mind, this thing is that if you want to go to another country, it is student visa, and the only place we can go is Canada. So Australia is a big country. The research have been showing that recently, Australia has been welcoming a lot of Indians, which is there. Yeah, my question is that if you compare the passports, so that is one of the things that we look onto actually, because eventually we want to get another passport, which is there. So how Australian passport is different from other countries?
First, I'd like to go back to your first question and talk about Australian embracing India right now. No, Australian has been embracing Indians now for the last 25 years. So Indians have been migrating to Australia for the last 25, 30 years at least. And yes, the pace has become much faster, much easier, much stronger recently. But Indians have been migrating. The first ever migrants that were there, who had gone, were Britishers and Indians
Of
who had
course.
basically gone to Australia. So that is what is there. Also, your question is how strong is an Australian passport? Australian passport, like I'm an Australian citizen. Today, if I want to go to Dubai, I don't need to think. I just have to buy a plane ticket and I'm there. For an Indian, he has to think, he has to plan, he has to see. Because people in this region, the Indian region or the Arab region, which is there, it is quite difficult for them to decide because they have to stand, they have to apply for visas, they have to apply permission. There are 195 countries, Nibris, in the world, and 190 countries is visa free for us. So you can imagine how
So
strong our passport
yeah, of
is.
course, you have the world open for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today, if my children want to go to America and to study, they can just fly there, take an admission in a university, get a student visa on the campus itself, and they can move. But for an Indian, that's not possible.
We have to have a lot of documents with us.
More than that, you have to show a lot of money.